Hello everyone. So today we're going to be talking about how to create a test plan in JMeter. Uh, so over here, the moment you open the JMeter, this is the first page that you will see. And over here, it's a test plan. Test plan is a collection of all the thread groups. When I say thread groups, I mean number of users. In performance, thread groups are called users as well. So let's start. So first you click on add, and over here you will see thread. So let's add thread group. There are different types of thread groups that we can add depending on what exactly we are trying to accomplish. The step up thread group is if we want to ramp up the users based on the time. Let's say if every second we want to ramp up 2 users, so then we will use the step up. And as well as the tear down is more like if we want to ramp down the users at the end of the performance run. So let's say we have 1,000 users, 1,000 users live at the moment, and we want to bring 1,000 users down to 900, and then 900 to 800, then 800 to 700, depending on what intervals we want to bring the 100 users down on. So then we will use this thread groups. There are other thread groups that are used as well that we will talk about in the later videos. But right now, let's start with the thread group, the very first one. So this is the very first page that you will see within the thread group. Over here, you name the thread group. I'm gonna name it as test. So okay, so over here you can see the very first thing that it tells is what is the action that needs to be taken at the time when sample error occurs. I will tell you what exactly the sampler error means, but in our case we want it to continue. Okay, so number of threads right now. Number of threads is number of users, as you can see, and ramp up is in seconds. Ramp up is like how long will it take for JMeter to ramp these many users up. So for example, like let's say if we have 1,000 users and the ramp up is 1 second, that means within 1 second the 1,000 users are gonna go live. Okay, so let's say if we have 10 seconds, so that means within 10 seconds 1,000 users are gonna go live. If we have 100, similarly. Okay, so that means the JMeter is randomly going to keep on ramping up the users, but it will keep in mind by the end of 100th second all 1,000 users are live. Okay, just for simplicity's sake, let's just keep it 1, and let's just keep this one 1 as well. So the loop count is how many times, how many loops this specific test is going to take. Okay, for example, like over here it is 1. That means this is going to this iteration of users is going to happen just once. That means each user, over here right now it is 1, each user is gonna iterate all the iterations within this group once. If I do it 2, that means each user will iterate twice. If I put it 10 here, that means number of users is 10, the loop count is 2. So that means each user, that means let's say in the very first user when goes online or is in a live status, it will go through all the iterations and it will come back and it will start again for the second loop. So the number of users, 10 number of users will do 2 loops each. Okay, so altogether the total iterations that will be called, or the total number of iterations that will be called, will be 20. Okay, so this is something that you really have to understand. So in again, I'm gonna tell it again. Over here, each user is gonna iterate twice. So since there are 10 users, they're gonna iterate, each user, 10 users are gonna iterate twice, so that means there are gonna be 20 transactions or 20 iterations of this specific flow, the flow that we were gonna create. Okay, let's get ahead. Okay, we can do infinite. I can't even talk now. Okay, infinite, or we can put some number in. So for now, I'm just gonna give, for simplicity, just 1. Okay. Okay, the very first thing that you have to do after you have your thread group ready is you have to save this test plan. Save this test plan. Every single time when you make changes, you have to save this test plan. So if you don't save it, there are a lot of times you will close the window, and next thing you know, the stuff that you worked on was not saved. So I'm gonna add something in the thread group. So over here, like I mentioned before, that we will be talking about samplers. Okay, what exactly are samplers? So samplers are the requests, or the collection of requests. Those are called samplers. Okay, so okay, samplers are the requests that are going to be sent to the servers. It could be UI request, it could be backend request, it could be a Java request, it could be just a regular program, or it could be the DB request as well. Okay, so let's create one sample. So we have sampler here, like I mentioned before. The samplers, like I told you, it is a request. So now we have to see, like, okay, what kind of request we want to send. So over here, now for the simplicity, we can create the HTTP request. In 90% of the cases, this is what you have to do every single time. So really don't have to worry about rest of the requests. 90% of the times, HTTP request is what you will be working on. There is a way we can, if we want to do it a bean shell sampler as well, we can create a small bean script for that. If we want to make a DB request, that is a JDBC. If you want to just do a simple Java request, we can do a simple Java or JUnit, or depending on what exactly is our business case. So right now we're gonna just do the HTTP request. HTTP request. Now we have added the HTTP request. Now we're gonna give a name to this HTTP request. The very first thing that we have to do is name the HTTP request. Request 1. Okay, over here you can see, over here it takes the protocol, it takes the IP, it takes the port number, it takes the method. So there are these methods that we have to choose: get, put, post, delete. So usually 90% of the times you will just come across 4 methods, one of 4 methods, that is get, either it's going to be post, either it's going to be put, or it's going to be delete. Sometimes you will come across patch as well. So depending on which scenario or which request do you have that you want to automate, or you want to code, or you want to create a script for, you will choose that. In our case right now, we will start off with the get request, then I will tell you what exactly is the post request, and put and delete as well. So let's start with the get request. Okay, now so we want to put get request here. So let's search for a get request that we can find on web. Sample request. Let's see what do they have. If they have any get request that we can use. No, they don't. Sample get request URL for testing. Mocking with sample. Let's say if they have any get request that we can use. Okay, for example, over here, sending a request. Over here, it is showing that we can use this get request to automate. Okay, let's do. Okay, now we have protocol, server, port name, the method. The method is get, and first we will put everything in the path. Okay, the path is everything after the server name is path. Okay, so this is our host name. So the host name is going to go here. The HTTP, that's a protocol. The protocol is going to go here. Since we are putting here, so we don't have to put any semicolons and backslashes. So now everything is ready. So right now this is a host name. So usually within this host name is going to be a IP address along with the port name. So so that's the reason we don't really have to put a port name here, because over here it has both of them internally. But there could be some times that you will be given a host name which is going to be different, and then there's going to be a port name which is going to be different. So in those cases you have to put both. So in this case we don't have to. So now let's save this. So we're going to save this as test 1. Okay, so we have saved it on our desktop, and now what we have to do is we have to run it. And so even if we run here, it won't show us any response. So for us to see a response, we have to add the listeners. So now let's add the listeners. So there are different kind of listeners that we will be using. I will go in detail on rest of the listeners, but right now for this video we're gonna use view result tree. So over here it will tell us, right in this section, it will tell us which request was fired, and over here it will tell us the request URL, the request body, and the request response as well. So let's see. Before we do it, we save it and we fire it. So now you can see over here it has fired all these requests. Why did it fire all these requests? It fired 10 requests because we have given the number that is 10, and in case if we change this number to 20, it's gonna fire 20 requests. So over here now everything will make sense. The ramp up is 1. That means all these 10 requests were fired within all these 10 requests. Users were ramped up within 1 second. Okay, so and each and every user within these 10 users did 1 loop. So in case if you add 2, so now you will see there's going to be 20 requests fired. Save it. See, now there's a 20 requests that are fired. So it's pretty simple. Once you get a hang of it, then everything is going to be easy to understand.